Welcome to the castle, everybody. This is Nightsaber Z42, and I just wanted to take this moment to say thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel. We finally reached over 500 subscribers, and that's a pretty big deal to me. And so today we're going to do a very special Character Vault episode. So we're actually going to do 5th edition again, but not really typical 5th edition. Because today we're going to play Call to Adventure, the Epic Origins expansion, which just released, or I got my copy about last month. And so I've played a couple games so far, and we're going to play Call to Adventure. And in part 2 of this series, I'm actually going to take everything that I've accomplished in this game and transfer it into a character for 5th edition, Dungeons & Dragons, of course. So let's get down to the table and let's get to business. Alright, so before we get started, we have to determine who our main villain for this, campaign is going to be. And so, I actually have these little campaign mode cards, and there's actually 7 of them, and I'm going to roll a d6. Now, I'm not going to worry about the final chapter one. That one's got like several different bosses in it, and I think they're like all hardcore mode, and I'm definitely not ready. I've only played one game of this, so I'm going to roll a d6, and whichever one I roll is going to be our main villain for this specific game. So I've got my lucky dice. This dice never has failed me yet. It's been given to me by a student, so here we go. Our number is 5. So we have campaign mode chapter 5, and if there's any indicator of what that could be, it looks like I'm gonna be fighting a dragon, maybe like a 3-headed dragon. Tiamat, maybe? Who knows? Actually, we're about to find out because I'm gonna open this packet up and we're gonna see what's inside. All right, I'm really excited. Okay, so there are some cards. Chapter 5, Queen's Wrath. Every dragon is majestic, but all wyverns bow before one queen, a progenitor goddess, known as the Elder Dragon. Though every crisis, she has waited for the perfect moment to strike. Now her time has come. Appearing in human form as the Queen of Dragons, she commands her children to go forth and wreak destruction upon the world of men. Descendants of these dragons, the Dragonkin, must choose whether to stand with their ancestors or fight against the Queen's tyranny. When the Queen reveals herself as the Elder Dragon, every mortal must unite. Can you master the power of dragons and save the world? And on the back we have our objective, which is defeat the Elder Dragon, and we have a setup. So begin a new game by shuffling Dragonkin into the Heritage deck and Dragon Master into the Destiny deck. In the Adversary Feat deck, replace Old One's Madness with Dragon's Majesty. Outcome: if you fail to defeat the Elder Dragon, face her again during your next session. Once you succeed, move on to the next chapter. And of course, I'm skipping a lot of this stuff because I went from chapter 1 to chapter 5. So we have Dragon's Majesty, and I'm going to be sleeving all of my cards. We have the Dragon Master is one of our new cards that we can get. Here's the adversary herself, Queen of Dragons, and her final form is the Elder Dragon, which is pretty neat. And we also have a new heritage, which is the Dragonkin, which looks pretty cool. I mean, they're just like Dragonborn. I like how that little dude is hanging on to his papa? I don't know. Blue is different than green. There's something going on there. Anyways, I'm going to wrap all these up in sleeves. I'm going to get the whole board set up, and then we'll start playing with Act 1. Ready? Here we go. Alright, our board is set up, but there's still a couple more things we need to do before we actually get started. As you can see, my board is still completely empty. We actually get to choose our heritage, our origins, our classes, and then our destiny. And this will actually be added to our board, and there's a spot for each one with the exception of the heritage. We get one heritage card, and that's it. That's what we get, and we won't throw a fit. We get to draw 2 origins, and we choose one to keep. We take 2 classes, and again we keep 1, and then we take 2 destinies, and we keep 1. So let's believe in the heart of the cards, and let's draw our heritage, and we get Hey, we got Beast Folk. That's interesting. So, on a light or dark, we can gain a light card or a dark card. Or, if you journeyed this turn, that means we get rid of one of the act cards. We spend some experience and we get rid of an act card and draw another one. We can gain 3 experience. So, hey, that's actually really interesting. So, Beast Folk will go right there next to our board. And we get to draw 2 origins and keep 1. So there's 1 and there's 2. So first off, we have Amnesiac. You begin the game with no experience. At the end of each of your turns, gain 1 experience. I believe my wife had this card when we played our first game. But this also gives us charisma and it gives us, I think it's will. Our other origin card is Villager. So we get strength and will. Or is that charisma? Whenever you attempt a sword or crown path, gain 1 experience. And if I take a look at the adversary, the Queen of Dragons, she takes crowns and intelligence. That's the one with the wand in order to actually fight. And we will actually have to overcome a difficulty of 6. So that means we're going to roll our base runes and whatever runes we have that match crowns and intelligence, and we have to get at least 6 successes in order to beat her. So that is a tall feat. The most obvious one would be to take Villager because of that crown. It does give us a crown, plus we get bonuses for whenever we attempt crowns. But at the same time, it doesn't really... It's only going to last us until we get our 3rd crown. So I think I'm going to take Amnesiac because the long play, it's going to last us a little bit longer. That's 1 experience per turn that we have. So this will go back into the pile. And we get to draw 2 classes. So there's 1, there's 2. Our first class is, Sorcerer. So when we spend 2 experience to put on this card, we get a +1 to attempt crown paths. When we have 4 experience on this card, we get +1 to Constitution. Charisma is the crown. So the red is Constitution. And when we have 6 experience on Sorcerer, whenever you add a crown to your story, gain a dark card. And I don't think I want to go the route of the dark path because our adversary here gains life whenever we play a dark card. But she also loses life when a hero's class card gains a new power. So that would actually be something that we want to go to. Anyways, our next class card is Fighter, and immediately I am like, ugh. This doesn't do anything for us at all to help in defeating the Queen of Dragons. So I think I am going to go for Sorcerer. A Beast Folk Sorcerer, who's also an Amnesiac, which actually kind of makes sense. Alright, we get to draw 2 destinies, and we keep 1, then 2. Our first destiny is the Dragon Master. Ooh, that's actually one of the new ones that we have. At the end of the game, gain 1 point for each sword or charisma in our story, and 1 point for each crown in our story. That actually does go well with our Sorcerer, so that is something to consider. Our other one is the Secret Sovereign. At the end of the game, 1 point for each intelligence and charisma in our story, which is already going to have to go with what we're trying to do in order to beat the Queen of Dragons, and 1 point for each experience you have, not including experience on your card. That's actually a real tough one. I think I'm going to go with the Dragon Master. I'm seeing a lot of potential here. Now, I do recognize that I'm giving up some points here, but thematically speaking, we are going against the dragon. Actually, you know what? Secret Sovereign also reminds me of the Dragonlance a little bit. Just that picture for some reason. I have decided we are definitely going to go with Secret Sovereign. I mean, not that points really matter in the end for us because this is a solo game, and so I like the idea. Oh man, I'm never gonna live this up. I am gonna go for the Dragon Master. Now, when you're playing co-op, you do not reveal your destiny until the end of the game. But since this is solo, I am gonna go ahead and show it off. Plus, I have to use the Dragon Master. I mean, it's a brand new card for this specific nemesis, so, or adversary. So there we go. We have our cards set. Now I'm going to reveal our first act cards all up in a row. So here we go. I have already put our first 4 act cards on the table face down. I will read them in just a second, but we do get 1 hero card, and so we don't gain our 3 experience points at the beginning of the game because we are amnesiac. We will actually gain an experience at the end of our first turn, but I did want to take a look at our hero card. Our hero card is Ancestral Blade, which gives us 1 point for playing it. Play this as any hero attempts a sword or scale path, add +2 to the attempt. So that means we gain an automatic 2 successes if we play this. So I'll keep that face down here and remember to take a look at that when we actually get there. So the Queen of Dragons gains life whenever we play dark cards, or villain cards, I guess, or anti-hero cards, the black ones, whichever one you want to call that. So we want to stay away from that as much as possible. But she also loses health when a hero's class card gains a new power. So whenever I spend 2 experience points to put on my sorcerer card, she will actually lose life. Now, we do need to beat her efficiently by the end of the game. She also gains +2 to attempt this if you have at least 4 experience on either your class card or in your pool. Okay, so that's a way to beat the Queen of Dragons right there. We gain a +2 to attempt this if you have at least 4 experience on either your class card or in my pool collectively, which we could get as long as I don't spend them willy-nilly on these dark runes when I want to roll. So that is feasible for us. So the adversary starts with 5 life for each player in this game, so that's 5. When any hero fails a non-adversary challenge, the adversary gains life. Whenever we roll this rune symbol with the 2 triangles, we play a card from the adversary deck, and that's usually bad news for us. And when you face the adversary, for each point of success above the adversary's difficulty, in this case 6, the adversary loses 1 experience point. So there is that. Anyways, let us flip over the 4 Act 1 cards. Educated. Intimidating. Village Tavern. And Tough. There's a lot of good choices here right off the bat. Educated and Intimidating are ones that we would like to grab. We need intelligence and we need charisma. So those 2 are really good. We don't really care for Constitution as much, and we don't really care for Dexterity, which is that sideways V. So I think it is very, very obvious that as a sorcerer, we are going to be very well educated. And so with these types of cards, these are called trait cards. They don't have anything going along the side. That means we don't actually have to roll for that. There's actually only 1 card where we do have to roll for, and that is the Village Tavern. We could either choose to win a drinking contest or embark on a quest, and we would actually have to roll and get a success of 3 or higher. And depending on which path we chose, we would actually either gain Constitution or Dexterity. And we would just tuck that away underneath our Act 1 cards. So I really don't want Tough, and I really don't want to win a drinking contest. If I had any experience, I would Journey. That means I would spend an experience point to get rid of one of those cards and draw a new one right away. I am going to take Tough, yes. Or sorry, not Tough, but Educated. So when you gain this, gain experience if you have at least 1 charisma. And I do have at least 1 charisma because Amnesiac does give me charisma. So I am going to take this card, tuck it underneath Amnesiac, which is my Act 1, and now we have 1 point in Intelligence, 1 point in Constitution, and 1 point in Charisma. And I will also reveal the next card in this stack, which is Potion Seller. We could either haggle with the merchant for Charisma or buy strong potions for a dark card, as well as a Constitution. So I'm going to put that right where that spot was. I do gain an experience point for the card I just got, and I also gain an experience point because it's the end of my turn. There's really nothing else I can do here, so I am going to take that. And actually, something that I could do, which I will do right now, I am going to spend 2 experience points and put that where my sorcerer is. Yes, so now I get +1 to attempt Charisma Paths. So very nice for that. Alright, now for turn 2 in Act 1. So we have Potion Seller, and I would definitely like to haggle with a merchant. And since I don't really have to worry about anybody coming in and stealing cards that I really want, I think I'm going to wait a little bit on that. So there's 2 cards that I really want. I want Intimidating, and I want that haggle with a merchant. So obviously, the best option for me to do, or to go right now, is to grab Intimidating, because that's free for me. I don't have to roll or anything. Tuck that away, and when you gain this, gain experience if you have at least 1 strength. I don't have any strength, unfortunately, so I don't gain the experience, but I will gain an experience at the end of my turn. An alternative way to gain experience is when you roll for some of these cards, you fail, you actually get 1 experience point, so there is that. So let's reveal the next card. It is Goblin Raid. A new contender shows its weary head. That is actually a really good option for us. Not fight off a goblin, but lead the town guard, because not only does it give us a crown, it gives us our last Constitution. The only problem is it's going to increase the difficulty by 1. So instead of 3, we'd have to make it to 4. Now, so we do have 2 Charisma. So I'm making a pool here. And before I do that, let me get my experience because that's the end of my turn. So we need to beat 4 in order to lead the town guard. And my pool is looking like this. I get my 3 basic runes. These are the ones with the black dots. And one of them has the 2 triangles. And I get 2 Charisma runes. Now the Charisma runes will automatically give me 1 success. If I roll crowns, I believe that counts as 2. Okay. I automatically get a +1 for my sorcerer card because I have 2 experience points on that. So I automatically get 3 at least. So if I can at least get another 1, that means I successfully lead the town guard, which seems like a no-brainer. I think I am going to do that, and unfortunately my Ancestral Blade does not help us. Now the big question is, do I spend an experience point to cast a rune? And I think the answer is going to be no. I'm going to go off and attempt this. Now if I fail, that card gets discarded, and I do gain an experience point, which, oh well, here we go. Okay, so I end up with 2, 3, and 4, so I just barely make it there. So we successfully lead the town guard. So we get a crown, and we also gain a 1 point of charisma. So awesome for us in our hero that we are creating here. So that is the end of Act 1. And so our beast folk person is an amnesiac who is well educated and intimidating and has successfully led the town guard off in a goblin raid. And so in Act 2, we will see what we can muster for our hero. Here we are in Act 2. I've gone ahead and discarded all of the Act 1 cards at the top. Since I'm not playing co-op, nobody's going to be drafting those anymore. Since I have 3 Act 1 cards, I certainly cannot draft those cards. So it's not going to do me any good, so I just went ahead and discarded those, and I have my 4 Act 2 cards here to play with. So I have 2 experience points, I have 2 on my sorcerer, and I also forgot to add my alignment tracker here. So that starts off at 2, which means I can use light cards and dark cards if I so wish. One thing to point out though, as soon as I get 3 Act 2 cards, I do progress to the Act 3 set, but I will also have to face off against the Queen of Dragons adversary. So I have 3 charisma and 1 intelligence, so I might want to gain the last 2 of my intelligence to flesh that out, and then I can do whatever I want for the rest of the act. So it actually depends on what I draw right here. So first Act 2 card is the Royal Banquet. Interesting. Our second one is Knoll Encampment. Another interesting one. Full Moon. Interesting. And Filthy Rich. Oh boy. This one's a bit of a weird one. There's 2 I know would be very good for us. And that is the Royal Banquet and the Royal Banquet is definitely good for us. Because in order to gain it, we would have to use intelligence and charisma. And we have that. We have 3 charisma. So that's automatically great for us. And we can gain an intelligence for that one pretty easily. It's only a difficulty of 5. Another one that I'm really contemplating is this Filthy Rich card. Mainly because of the crown. And I think that's what I want to do. I want to gain Filthy Rich first. And not only that, when you gain this, gain experience for each crown in our story, or take 2 health from the adversary. Well, being Filthy Rich first and then holding a Royal Banquet would make the most sense, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take 2 points from the adversary, because I'm going to gain 2 experience by the end of this act, so by the time I face the Dragon Queen, I should have up to 4, which will give me the +2 anyways. And so there is that route that we can go. So I'm going to reveal the next one. We have the Drow Temple. Nothing that I really want there, although I do find it funny that there are 2 options for that one. You can either sneak past a sentry and gain dexterity, or you could seduce a cultist, because, you know, cultists like being seduced, I guess. So there is that. I think I'm going to go ahead and spend my 2 points and put that into my sorcerer card. So now I automatically gain the +2 to attempt for my adversary. And I think, well, this is the end of the turn, so I'm going to go ahead and gain my experience, because there's really nothing else that I can do. What do I want to make happen this time? Obviously, I want to poison the rival. The big question, though, is, do I want to spend my experience point journeying? So let's take a look and see what, if we were to go for poisoning the rival right now, what would our success chances look like? I have 3 charisma, my 3 basic runes, and then 1 intelligence. I only have 1 intelligence, right? Yeah. So I'm working with 7 runes here. I don't need any dark runes, so I'm not going to spend that experience point. So I think I will spend an experience point to try to make something happen here. So I'm going to spend my experience point, and I'm going to get rid of the Knoll Encampment, because it doesn't really do anything for me. Like my chances of success for that one are so low, like impossible. And then we have rival adventurers. So charisma and strength check to either vanquish your rivals or recruit new allies. And the sword doesn't really... Sword would be nice because it gives me points at the end of the game. But at the same time, I'm not sure. It depends. If push comes to shove, I will go ahead and vanquish the rivals. But if something comes out of for my next draw, then I will probably end up taking that one. So I'm going to attempt the poison a rival challenge here. So I am working with 7 runes. Going to go ahead and give those a roll. Okay. Before I start counting my runes, this triangle, double triangle, does not give me any successes. But what it does do, first we're going to have to draw our card from the adversary deck. It is Dragon's Majesty already. Reveal this as a hero attempts a challenge. Unless they have a crown or scales in their story, the adversary gains health. And we actually have 2 crowns, 3 crowns. So our adversary does not gain any life. So booyah, in your face. In addition to that, our heritage does allow us to gain a light card or a dark card, or if you journeyed this turn, gain 3 experience points. However, experience points aren't really that valuable to me at the moment. So what I will do instead, I will draw a light card, and it is Leap of Faith. Choose a hero attempting a challenge. They gain +1 to attempt a light path, or +2 to attempt a starry path. And since I am not attempting a light path, I can't really use this card, so that's unfortunate. Alright, so with that out of the way, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and this charisma symbol with 3 dots means I get 2 successes, so it is a total of 6. So we do get to poison our rival. So we got the little drama tragedy symbol plus a point in our dark side, I guess, and 1 intelligence. Our next card for Act 2 is Puzzle Door. Okay, you can either disable the trap for dexterity or solve the puzzle for intelligence, 2 points and a light card, but the difficulty is 6, and I'd have to use only intelligence, which is 2. That is a tall feat. And I don't have anything. I do have something that could help with that. But first things first, I'm going to gain my point. My experience point goes here. I think I am going to journey. I'm going to spend my experience point, and I am going to get rid of the Drow Temple. It's not going to do me any good. And we have Forgotten Mine, which definitely does not do me any good. That is a really bad draw for us. Okay. So our options here. We could cure a werewolf to get that point of intelligence. We could vanquish our rivals to get a point in strength, which gives us points at the end of the game. Doesn't necessarily do us any good in defeating the Queen of Dragons. We could solve the puzzle for our last point in intelligence, but in order to do that, well, let's see. So I have 2 intelligence. So let me figure this out. I don't have any dexterity, but I do have the Leap of Faith card, which does give me a +1. I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and make a gamble here, because I really do want to fill that intelligence out. And the benefits of actually solving this is just too good of a chance to pass up. Unfortunately, I don't have any more experience points, so I cannot actually use one to gain a dark rune. But I will be playing Leap of Faith, which gives me a +1 automatically whenever I attempt a light path. So I do have that going for me. So I need to beat a 6. Or actually, I need 5 more. So each one of these needs to actually roll something in order for me to beat it. This card doesn't do me any good, right? Yeah, it does not. Okay. Oh boy. Here we go. Oof. That is a really bad draw for us. Okay. First things first. Adversary. Wandering Monster. Reveal this as a hero attempts a challenge. It has +1. Well, darn it. That definitely negates my Leap of Faith. So we need 6. I definitely don't have 6. I have 3 right now. We do get to draw a hero card, which I am going to do. Choose a hero attempting this challenge. They gain +1 to attempt a light path, or 2 for a scale path. Okay. So this kind of negates that, let's just say. So I'm back to square one. I need 6. I'm definitely not going to be getting 6. Okay. So I'm just going to have to take the hit here. I did use Leap of Faith, so it's still available for me. Oh, well, the adversary does get a life back because I failed a non-adversary challenge. And this gets discarded, unfortunately. And something that I have not been keeping track of, the adversary does lose health. When my hero's class gains a new power, it does lose health. So I'm actually going to take 2 points off of the adversary because we have 2 powers unlocked on our sorcerer card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I gain an experience point for my failure. I also gain an experience point for it being the end of the turn, and I'm going to go ahead and quickly reveal this Act 2 card, which is Folk Hero. Definitely do not need Constitution, so that is kind of a waste for me. So I only have 2 Act 2 cards, so this basically is like a free turn for me because I don't have 3 Act 2 cards, so I still don't have to fight the Queen of Dragons, which is pretty nice. I'm going to journey, and I am going to get rid of the Forgotten Mines, because that's not doing me anything at all. So let's go ahead and draw. We have Wedding Day. Yay, I like weddings. You can either gain a life partner or object to the union. Oh, we could be a douche like that. Okay, well, I don't like any of these options for me. So I think I'm also going to spend another experience point to journey. And this time I'm going to get rid of the Folk Hero because I don't need Constitution. And so we have Maze of Trials. Recover the stolen goods for Constitution and Judgment, or seize the spoils for Dark Card 1 point and Dexterity. None of those really do anything for me. Okay, so the alternative for us is to cure the werewolf. That's the only thing that I'm really seeing that I need right now in order to flesh out my intelligence. So I am going to go ahead and do that. So I'm still got 2 intelligence. I got my regular runes. I need to beat a 5, which is feasible. I can definitely do that. Do I have anything? I don't. Yeah, I can't use any of my cards. I mean, I could go for, just kind of thinking off the top of my head, because I know I can only utilize 3 runes of the same, but I could still gain more points at the end of the game by recruiting new allies. But I'm going to go for the Cure the Werewolf. If I fail this one, then I am definitely going to recruit the new allies or something along those lines. Okay, so here we go. Wow, that's actually a really good roll. We got 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for that roll. And that means we cured a werewolf. So we get our last point of intelligence. We got a scroll, and we do get a card, a hero card, which is Channel Divinity. Choose a hero attempting a challenge. For each wisdom in their story, they gain +1 to their attempt. We're probably never going to use that, honestly, because we don't have wisdom. And that is actually our third and final Act 2 card. And so, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these because now we have to fight the adversary. Okay, before that, I will get my +1 experience point because it's the end of the turn. So you actually fight the adversary. What would be your first turn for the Act 3? So you don't gain any Act 3 cards, instead you fight the adversary. And so, this will be a walk in the park, so they say. So I have 3 intelligence and I have 3 charisma. And so I'm going to go ahead and set that aside, plus my 3 basic runes. So I'm rolling 9 runes here. 9 runes to get 6 or higher, and for each point that I beat them by, I get rid of one of those health points for the adversary. I already get +2 to attempt because we have 4 on our class card. So this is pretty much one and done, let's be honest. Because each of these intelligence and charisma runes is going to roll at least +1, or yeah, 1. So, oh boy. Well, let's take care of this adversary card first. Prisoner in Peril. Reveal this as a hero attempts a challenge. If they fail, the adversary gains an additional experience point or life. We are going to gain a hero card. Ray of Hope. If the adversary lost health this turn, gain goodness, or remove another health from the adversary. I will most likely be using this, so I'm going to set that right there. Okay, aside from that, what am I looking at? 2, 4, 6. So we're already at that threshold. 7, 8 means we got rid of those 2 remaining health points. We have Dark Triangle, so add 2 to Charisma Challenge or add 0 and immediately draw 1 Dark card. So I guess I'm just going to add 2 to the challenge. And our triangle, our intelligence side, this one I will draw. I will take 0 to draw another card. Heed the call. You may journey once for free. If you gain a trait or attempt a challenge revealed this turn, gain experience. Interesting. I am going to actually play Ray of Hope because the adversary has definitely lost some health this turn, and so that means my goodness tracker goes up by 1, so I'm getting 4 points at the end of the game, but I can only use hero cards, which I only have, so there is that. Okay, so Prisoner in Peril is going away. Ray of Hope gets added to my stack of good cards. The Queen of Dragons has been defeated. Now, the thing is, I don't know if this actually ends the game technically, because on this part, we would, on the Act 3, we would actually flip her over to the final adversary, which is kind of what I want to say is what is happening here. Before that, I do get a hero card for the defeating her. So we got Call of the Wild. Choose a hero attempting a challenge. They gain +1 if attempting a light path, or +2 to attempt a mountain path. So another one that I could make use of. So anyways, let's flip over to the Elder Dragon and we will complete Act 3. So I am making an executive decision here. Now, originally I was not going to be using the Advanced Adversary quest, but since I just defeated the adversary's first side, I am going to go ahead and flip it over. So when you flip to the final adversary, give it 3 health for each player in the game, which is going to be 3, so that just means I get to kind of prolong the game a little bit. I don't know if the game would end when I defeat the adversary in that last turn. It kind of seems weird to kind of just leave it there. Mainly because this whole act is about your destiny. And so, in terms of character creation, you stop after Act 2. And Act 3 is what is to come, your future. And I'm also having way too much fun, so I'm going to go ahead and keep playing. So I got my 4 Act 3 cards. Let's see, we have Winter's Heart. You can either have an Endless Winter for some Constitution, or Restore Summer for Wisdom. Not anything that I'm going to be doing. Shadow Dancer is a trait with Dexterity and Wisdom. When you gain this, if you have at least 3 dark paths in your story, gain 2 experience points, and I'm just shy of that. We have Stormlord. That gives us strength and dexterity. When you gain this, if you have at least 3 light paths in your story, gain 2 experience. I don't have any light paths, really? Wow. What kind of game have I been playing? Okay, that's interesting. And we have Lore Master. So we gain Wisdom or Charisma. When you gain this, if you have at least 3 different story icons, gain double experience points. And that actually would better reflect what I have right now. Okay, so there's only one that I can really roll for, and it's nothing that I'm going to be able to accomplish. Let's be honest, I have no wisdom, I have 1 constitution, so I'm actually going to go for Storm Lord. Actually I say that, but Lore Master's also as equally as good. In the end though, when you really think about creating characters and fleshing them out, especially in terms of like Dungeons and Dragons, I would like to have a somewhat balanced character. So I am going to take Stormlord, and that gives me strength and dexterity. For some reason, causing storms gives you some dexterity, so there's also that. We don't gain any experience because I don't have any light paths, which is very strange. So I will go ahead and reveal the next card. Narrow Escape. For the last stand, you can either do a Narrow Escape with Dexterity or Noble Sacrifice for Constitution. I am not really liking any of these cards. I'm going to be very, very honest. So, one thing that I do know, I do not want. I do not want Winter's Heart. So Winter's Heart's going bye-bye. And we get Assassination Attempt. Oh. Okay. We do not have any wisdom. That's my only problem with that. We do get a +1 if we go for that crown. I think I am going to pick up... Oh, actually, before that, I will spend my last point, and we're going to get rid of Shadow Dancer. What do we get? We have City in the Sky. We could capture a Djinn, or we could study the power source. Okay. Very interesting. I like the idea of studying the power source. My only problem with that is it's a difficulty of 8. And if I was going to roll 9 runes, I could see myself going for that. My problem with that is I'm only rolling, let's see, 3, 6, 7 runes altogether. Now, I don't get the +1 either, so there is that. I'm going to go for Lore Master first. That's the safest play that I can think of right now. And since I have at least 3 different story icons, I do get my 2 experience back. And I am going to immediately put them on my story or my class card, just for reasons. Let's replace our Act 3 card. So we have the Tyrant's Stronghold. Now that is an interesting one. I do like that. Although I have no hope of ever getting there. I have 1 sword. I have 1 constitution. I do get a +1 because of my constitution attempt. So how many cards will give me +1? So Judgment Path, that's going to add 2. Since this is a light path, actually this is a Judgment Path, so I get +4. Or another +2 for up to +4. Call of the Wild will give me +1. Oh, I forgot I have Heed of the Call. Why don't I do that first? I could also use this one for +1 as well. So I could actually automatically succeed in that. But I'm going to Heed the Call real quick. You may journey once for free. If you gain a trait or attempt a challenge, reveal this turn, gain an experience point. So I am going to journey. I'm going to get rid of the narrow escape. Dragon Disciple. Okay, well that kind of changes things. When you gain this, if you have played at least 2 dark cards this turn, gain double experience. If you have 2, okay, I see, double moons, then you may gain light. Oh man, that really stinks. Because it would make sense, since I'm going to be the Dragon Master, to be a Dragon Disciple first. It pairs along with my Sorcerer in terms of character creation and all that. But it also makes sense that, you know, when you're going to defeat the Elder Dragon, you travel to the Stronghold first, free the enslaved, and then you go on to beat up the big bad dragon. Oh, this one is a tough one. Okay. There's only two I'm considering. Dragon Disciple would be free. It allows me to gain a Constitution and another Charisma, which doesn't do me any good in defeating the Elder Dragon, but it does allow me to gain extra points at the end. In addition to that, Free the Enslaved also gives me points. It's going to give me a whole lot of points because I'll be playing Call of the Wild, Channel Divinity, Word of Honor, and Ancestral Blade. So let's see how many points, or actually how many successes am I getting. So I'm getting 2 successes, 4 successes, 5, 6. I'm getting 6 successes to be a difficulty 7. So I would only have to roll at least 1 success. Now, I get 1 sword, because I do have 1 strength, and I have 1 constitution, so I get to pull that as well. Okay. Now, remember, I'm getting 1 point for each of those cards that I play, so I think this is the better play. But man, those 2 cards really would have been killer to my hero. Okay, so what do I get? Good, I did not get the double triangle, so I successfully free the enslaved, and that is pretty much it. So everything is going back. Man, we had some great draws on that one. The only one that I can say that I'm not really that comfortable with is the Lore Master. That was just a pick because I had to. I do gain 1 experience because it's the end of the turn. If I had chosen that other card, by the way, the only extra thing I would have been getting is the extra experience from my Heed to Call, but oh well. Okay, so it is time for us to defeat the Elder Dragon. Now, the Elder Dragon has 3 health remaining, but the difficulty has increased to 8. Okay, so let's reset here. I have my 3 basic runes. I have my 3 charisma. I have my 3 intelligence runes. Do I dare spend an experience point to try to... Actually, you know what? I think I am going to go ahead and spend my experience point to gain a dark rune. Now, if I do roll the dark or the moon card, I do add 2 success to the challenge, but I also move down on the corruption. So instead of 4 points, I'd be getting 2 points, which would also be pretty bad. But I think I just have to kind of let it roll let the dice roll for this one. I'm rolling 10 runes to beat a challenge 8, and I need to get rid of 3 health from this guy. So, here we go. Okay. The good news, we did not roll the 2 triangles. So I don't have to draw on the adversary. So the adversary deck is done for. And actually I did forget, I did gain that last point, so I'm going to go ahead and dock 1 health from the Elder Dragon. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13. Alrighty. I think that kind of says it right there. I have moved down 1 on the corruption track, but I have successfully defeated the Elder Dragon. So there we go. We have become the Dragon Master, or so the fortune teller has foretold upon my birth. And so that is Call to Adventure. Now, the first part of this series is, of course, playing the game. In part 2, I will be taking everything that I have accumulated over the course of this journey and translating it into a character for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So, feel free to leave a comment down below, give this video a huge thumbs up to support this series, and subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next video.